Sunday, 4th of July. Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome to the True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. You had it until the very last one.
I know. I'm like,
you
what comes
decided
next?
to Wolverine shank me.
Sorry.
Goodness. So first off, let me let y'all know this. It's what time is it? It's 9 a.m.
And 9:05.
It's 9:05, right?
Really, is it early for us?
It's
but
not,
on the weekend, to actually
weekend.
be doing stuff on camera is early.
Look, and I woke up this morning. I don't know if you knew what I did this morning, but I went to go cut my dad's hair.
Oh my goodness!
And he plays basketball at 8 a.m. So I got there at 7 to cut his hair. So long story short, we're running on fumes. All right, we're running on some fumes, but it's still gonna be a pretty good podcast today.
Great podcast.
Of course. So it's the 4th of July.
Independence Day or whatever.
Independence Day, right, of America. Beautiful sentiment around it. But because it's 4th of July and everyone's talking about independence, we wanted to kind of shift the conversation a little bit to make it about yourself. Right? How do you define your own independence? How do you define your own freedom? So that's what we're talking about today. But Sinclair, I gotta be honest with you.
Devon.
I made a slight remix to it this morning. Yes, I did. Because
he loves that I'm good on quick on my feet and love last minute surprises.
You got it. So I was talking to honestly, we'll get into it, and then I'll talk about
how you got into
how we switched.
I'm guessing your dad has something to do with it.
Yes, he did. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Theee life. Dancing. I don't got the energy to dance, to be honest with you. Early in the morning, I'll leave that to the Oh, you know what doesn't give me energy? Those vocals. I'll tell you that right now. All right. So I went to my dad's house, cut his hair, and not obviously, but Demetrius was there.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that don't know, my little brother, he has a unique perspective.
He does.
Of life.
On a lot of things.
On a lot of things. Just a very, very unique way of looking at things that I appreciate personally, because I feel like it always sparks conversation. It's always like, I never thought of it that way.
Right.
So I was bringing up the podcast. They're like, oh, how come you're not coming to play basketball with us today? I was like, oh, we got podcast. 9 a.m. Can't be there, y'all. Sorry. We won 6 games in a row yesterday. Shout out to Owner for coming out. It was fun stuff. But they were like, what are you going to talk about? I was like, oh, we're talking about, Independence Day. We're talking about personal freedom. And then we started talking about freedom versus choice.
Okay. And
basically, Demetrius was saying, like, you know what? We choose certain things. And it was like, my dad was talking about, working. The fact that I need to work this job in order to pay my bills. So I'm not free. Demetrius was like, but you chose that job. And he was like, yeah, I did, but I got all these bills. And he was like, but you chose to spend that money in those bills.
He's very, very good point.
I was like, yeah, I did choose it, but I'm still forced to work. And he was like, well, I don't think, I feel like if you had the freedom to make that choice, then that's you're free and you made that choice. And every choice that you make comes with consequences. And I was like, Demetrius, it's 8:00. First of all, I'm like, dang.
So he says, as long as you have choice, you have freedom.
Yeah, to him, as long as you have that choice, you have freedom. And with every choice that you make, there are consequences. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the new direction that I want to take. I feel like before we talked about just defining freedom, we can still definitely define freedom for what it is. But I kind of want to talk about the different choices that you make and how that choice affects your freedom or affects your quality of life. Is that okay with you before we dive into it? Can we make that remix?
We can do it. Let's jump in there.
All right, cool. So first, let's define just freedom for ourselves, of what we think it is. I feel like we may have slightly different definitions, which is cool. I can go first. So freedom to me, kind of like Demetrius, but it's the ability to make the best choice for you that makes you happy. Mm. Right? Because I feel like there's always pretty much going to be that balance of making a choice and maybe losing something. But at the end of the day, like if you're able to make the choices that are best for you as a person, or as a family, I feel like you have freedom. And I feel like the taking a little history backtrack. I feel like it's history time with the Bon Truvel. But I feel like Independence Day was the fact that the United States was being taxed by Britain, but they weren't having the political representation, right? So it was the taxation without representation, the whole thing. The Boston Tea Party, they threw the tea off thing. We're not going to pay the tea tax. Here's the thousands of millions of dollars of tea in the ocean. Forget you, Britain. That's what's happening.
Can I just interject here? I feel like once you become an adult, you need to go back and retake a lot of the history classes that you took as a child. So I feel like history was always boring to me, and I didn't actually understand what was happening. But I feel like now as an adult, when I hear you explain things, I'm just like, that's what happened? I promise you I learned about all of this, but I'm just like, that's what happened? Yep. Like it just, anyways, that's what
all you saying to me is I'm a better history teacher than the history teacher you had in high school. That's all I'm hearing.
Of course. I'd rather learn for history with your deep, sensual voice any day.
Listen, this is taking an awkward educational turn.
My bad.
I apologize, podcast listeners.
4th of July in Boston Tea Party, they threw the tea off. Yeah. Okay, what happened?
All right. Sorry. So basically, golly, let's see, we back on. But basically, Boston Tea Party, we still pay taxes in America, right? But we have the representation. So that's, again, the kind of sacrifice that Americans make. We're still going to tax ourselves. We're just going to be fully fiscally responsible for ourselves. We need to create our own army now. So there is a list of other kind of consequences that came with the freedom from being taxed from another person. Right. So for us, we have to think, who is our Britain? Or what is our Britain, right? What's that thing that maybe we're chained to? What's that thing that's not giving us the freedom? But and then also, what are the things that we are willing to do extra to gain that freedom in certain aspects? So long story short, freedom for me is being able to make that choice on what's best for you, but still understanding that there will be some little extra something you got to put into it.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Queen.
I think you pretty much covered it. I think the first thing, like the most simple way that I could think of to describe freedom is just the ability to do what I want, when I want, how I want.
Like drink your wife's green tea.
Just like that. But yeah, I think there is that underlying that caveat that is like with the understanding that every choice comes with consequences. You may not even realize what they are at the moment, but I think knowing that you made the decision makes it easier to accept those consequences. Whereas if you have to do something that which Demetrius probably argue like you still chose it, but if you have to do something out of like obligation, whatever consequences come, I feel like you're gonna have an issue with those because it's like I didn't choose this.
I agree with that.
This is just put upon me, right? But if it's like I chose it, then it's like okay, well, this is the kind of I don't say the cost of freedom, but there is always some type of cost to freedom.
Right.
But yeah,
I do like that kind of variable of control. And maybe control is not the right word, but yeah, because it's one of my pet peeves when someone makes a decision for me, and I know it's like, I don't know if that's the right decision. I know I wouldn't make that decision, and I got to rock with that. And if I'm personally liable for the consequence of that decision, it makes it a little bit harder as well.
Right.
So yeah, that's a great point, Queen. So shifting over a little bit, we have 4 pillars of health. Yes. Our 4 pillars of health, the TH4, if this is your first time, are physical health.
Yes.
Social health.
Yes.
Spiritual health.
Yes.
And economic health.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to kind of go through each of these sections and kind of talk about choices that you can be making in each of them. And then I also have a game.
Of course.
Do you want to play the game like sprinkled all throughout, or just save the game for the end?
Let's give people something to look forward to at the end.
Cool. So give people what they want.
Yeah.
At the end.
At the end.
Gotcha. So up first, your favorite, physical health.
See.
Can we, one, show the graphic, and then two, can we go into kind of choices that we make in our physical health and how that impacts our physical health? Go ahead, Queen.
Yes. So I think the first thing that comes to mind when we're talking about the choices that we make that impact our physical health, number one, what we eat. And I think that that's coming to light more now. I think honestly, previously, we just as a society really believed that what we ate didn't affect our health, which
you
is
think so?
Yes. And not all of society. I feel like there's definitely I feel like the folks who've been coming up in the kind of the natural health sector have always realized that. But I think as a society, like a couple maybe 50 years ago, if you had asked your doctor, how does food affect my health, they'd be like, it doesn't. So that's why I feel like it's, when I say society, parts of society I think are coming into believing this. But I think by now I think we can all agree. I think we're all in agreement that what you eat significantly affects your physical health, because what you eat becomes what you make your.
I just want to interject one word in there.
Yes.
What you choose to eat.
What you choose to eat, because unless you are in some situation where you are being fed, you choose what you eat. So what you choose to eat literally makes up what your body, the building blocks for what your body builds and remakes your blood tissues, your cells, your blood, like your blood recirculates, like all of these things. It only has what's inside of your body to work with. So what you put in your body directly affects the nutrients and things that your body has to work with. Think about if you're like building a house or something like that. You need your wood, you need your concrete, you need all this stuff. If I told you to build a house and I only gave you 5 bricks, like you're gonna be like, how am I supposed to do this?
Right. It's an interesting metaphor, because as soon as you started talking about building homes, what story did I think of? You got it, the 3 Little Pigs.
Oh yeah. So exactly what came to mind.
Right there. But the fact that one pig built it out of straws, right? So what you're putting inside your body, you're creating your castle, you're creating your body.
Right.
Boom. We got straws. We had, I know, last one was brick.
Hey,
what was one in the middle? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, there was 3 different houses. Yeah. One was terrible and blew over really, really quickly. The other one was kind of cool, but didn't quite make it there. And the other one was brick. So it's like, as you're building the body, your castle, you want bricks.
Right.
And I feel like usually bricks are the healthy leafy greens, the whole fruits and organic stuff and all that good stuff. And the straws, I love French fries.
Right.
But those straws are almost literally
right.
looking like haze, right? So if you only ate French fries all your life, that's not a strong body. So your immune system's going to be weak. Your probably muscular system will probably be weak, all that other stuff. So build your house out of bricks, y'all.
And I feel like for the average person, I feel like the interesting part about it is I feel like as we're young, we generally have more reserves in our body too. We still have because when we're born, we're pretty healthy, right? We're pretty healthy. You don't have too much of the world that has, come in and affected you yet.
Right.
But of course, as we, make our life choices, we unfortunately, these days, children are introduced to processed food very early. All of the things that lead to, so that when you're a young adult, that's when we start to see the consequences of what we've been eating all of our childhood. And unfortunately, it's starting earlier and earlier these days. But I feel like that's what I think gets some people thinking. I mean, a lot of us, including myself, thinking in high school that I could eat whatever I wanted,
right,
because I danced 6 days a week. My metabolism. Thank you.
Yeah, it's all good.
My metabolism.
Hey y'all, listen. These 9 a.m. podcasts, they about to hit different. I'm letting you know right now. Less of a filter, words being made up.
Metabolism.
Metabolism. It sounds cool. Right. It probably means something.
My metabolism was quicker, and so that kind of lends the summary or whatever, that I can eat whatever I want and it doesn't affect my body.
Mm.
But we learn later in life, unfortunately, sometimes after it's too late, that those decisions absolutely do affect your life. So that was a really long way to say what we eat. I think the next one was exercise, or like how we move. Yes. So like we want to be able to do all of those things that we want. I always like to bring up the example of like, I want to play with my grandkids and my great grandkids. Right? I want to be able to actually like play with them, pick them up, run around with them. And in order to do that, you got to be able to move your body in those ways. You got to be able to run. You got to be able to walk, for as long as possible. So I think that's why it's important to get out there and move. Exercise isn't only to lose weight, right? Otherwise we would only say like bigger people need to exercise. That's not true. Every single person should get out there and move their body, because it's more than just losing weight. It's making sure it's like the saying, use it or lose it. That's absolutely true with your body. If you don't use it, you will lose the functionality, right? And unfortunately in today's society, especially in this COVID era, it is so easy to wake up, go from one sedentary position to the next, and you are there all day. Like you have to force yourself to be active, right? Whereas in some other societies and some other cultures, it is naturally more active because they do have to go out to get their food. But we live in the era of just ultimate convenience for a lot of folks. Not everybody's in this situation, right? But for the average American, we have a lot of convenience. Whether that's, I'm not saying you have access to quality things, but we all have access to something, whether that's a liquor store or whether that's a Whole Foods, right? You have access to something that's usually pretty close. So I think it eliminates the need to move and do things to live our life. So then you have to be purposeful to integrate that movement into your life. So whether that's going to take a walk, or that's maybe you if you live close to something that you need to go to, if you live close to the post office or something like that, rather than driving, go take a walk. But I think integrating it into your life is the best way. And I'm also a proponent for functional mobility, which is kind of I don't want to say it's new because I don't know the history of functional mobility. I imagine it's a spinoff of like yoga,
or just martial arts.
Martial arts. It's kind of like a mixture of those. But it is movement and exercise that is specifically for the purpose of functional, exactly what it sounds like, being able to move your body and maintain functionality of your critical joints, like your hips, your shoulders, your knees, and things like that. So I think it's important to just choose to move your body, on a daily basis, so that you don't lose the ability to move your body, at a young age.
Love it. And that's why I like standing.
Yes.
It's just like, but I love what you talked about, the use it or lose it. Yeah, like I said, these 9 a.m. podcast words just be scrambling. Because I feel like if you do for your body an action every single day, unless you get injured, there's no reason your body shouldn't be able to do what you did yesterday today.
Right.
So if you take that mindset of, okay, every day I want to do every type of movement that I want to do tomorrow, I feel like you're gonna live a pretty healthy lifestyle.
Right.
I feel like that's the lovely thing about functional mobility, about maybe playing a sport, about just walking every day. Because it's like, if you're doing this stuff every day, as long as you don't get injured, you should be able to do it the next day as well. Right. So I like that.
Shoot, I had something to sprinkle in there. Oh, I lost it. It came in and then it went.
Okay. Sorry, Queen.
It happens.
Was it brilliant?
It might have been, but you're just so handsome. It just
escapes me. I woke up like this. But the next thing, talking about me being so handsome, is what you consume.
Yes.
What you look at, what you listen to, what you're watching on TV, movies, all of that. It kind of goes to spiritual health, but it also kind of literally manifests inside of your body, in your physical as well. Anything you want to sprinkle on that? I know that's one of your ones.
So the reason why I think that's an important one that we don't always make the connection to is because it does have a direct effect, and I don't feel like we realize how direct it is. I feel like we think like, oh, it's all in the mind, and then somehow it trickles down. And it's like, no, it really has a direct effect. There are studies done where they have somebody watch the news and they take their certain vitals. Of course, I'm not any type of expert, but they take certain vitals and certain like measurements and brain waves before and then after they let them watch, 30 minutes of news or whatever. And their emotional health and therefore their physical health noticeably changed for the rest of the day, even after they were given some type of activity to take their mind off of it. As soon as that was done, they went back to like that fear and anxiety that they were feeling after watching the news. I think that that's the perfect example of your body, your physical state has now changed right after watching the news. So what does that tell you if you sit and watch the news all day? Right. How is that affecting you? That's just one example because it affects your stress levels. And I think that that's the biggest takeaway, I think, from this is whatever you consume affects your stress levels directly. And your stress level has physical effects on your body. We've talked about that in several podcasts, but, again, I'm no expert, go do your own research. But once you experience stress or once you perceive stress, your body starts releasing a hormone called cortisol. That's the stress hormone. There's a lot of other hormones that are released, but that's one of the most prominent. And there are chemical reactions that happen once that excess of cortisol starts being released. So there is a physical reaction that happens once you start feeling that stress. So again, if you're scrolling through social media, depending on what you choose to follow, that could be a stressful situation, or that can be perceived as stress from the body. Again, if you watch the news, if you just have maybe a family member or something in your household that brings on that stress, that all is going to affect your physical health.
Two comments for that. One, yes, I mean, this isn't even one of the comments that I had. But yeah, I stopped watching the news. Right. I feel like I used to watch the news pretty heavily, and I felt the effect that you're saying. And I feel like it's been a solid 2 years. I feel like since I live with Grandy, so maybe been 3 years since like I watched the news on a consistent basis. Yeah, I'll see it on my social media. People will text me, but I'm not like, let me turn on the news. Let me listen to the radio. Right. That's another thing. I don't listen to the radio anymore either. Right. So completely agree. One point, unless you're a sociopath, which if you're listening to this and you are a sociopath, please like and subscribe. Please. Don't come for us. But unless you're a sociopath, you have mirror neurons, right? So it's kind of like empathy almost naturally. Yes. So when you're talking to someone, they start crying or they're sad, like I feel like usually you also start to feel a little emotional, right. A little sad. Right. Most of the TV that we watch, it's supposed to be stressful.
Supposed to evoke some type of emotional response.
Right. Like literally as a writer, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make emotions come from you. We're trying to build tension. We're literally causing stress inside of scenes to make it more entertaining. So if we're making what you're watching stressful, tension oriented, entertaining, and you have mirror neurons, automatically you're going to feel those same emotions that we're trying to make you feel as writers, as storytellers. Yes. So that's one concept, right? Next thing is I feel like I dive into this trap probably once every two or 3 weeks. I fall into this trap, and this trap where it's like I feel stressed, like from life, and I'm just like, okay, I want to de-stress. I don't want to focus on all these things I have to do. So let me watch some TV. Let me distract myself. So then I start watching TV, and then I feel a different type of stress. I feel like it's very interesting. Like I feel this stress where it's like I have stuff that I need to do. I have stuff that I need to get done. So now I'll start watching. Like I started watching Startup, which was a cool little show on Netflix. Before that, I was watching Billions. That was a cool show. It's usually money oriented because I'm fooling myself into thinking I'm learning while I'm watching. Like, oh, let me watch Startup because I'm trying to do a startup, and it doesn't really work like that. But I'm watching it, and now like all the anxiety that these characters are going through, all of the ups and the downs, the gunshots, the drugs, like there's like a whole bunch of like interesting stuff in this video. And because my mirror neurons are activated, I'm now feeling stress. I'm like, oh, I'm Ronald Dacey in Startup, so I'm very stressed. Or oh, I'm this dude in Billions, so I'm stressed out because I'm trying to live the life that they're living. And then I end up not getting the work done that I need to get done. So then I feel even more stress on this side as well. So what I've started to do is I now understand that TV is a 100% distraction for me. and I should only consume TV when I want to be distracted. Don't think that it's going to help me feel better. Don't think that it's going to help me learn anything unless it's like an educational thing. Like, no, Devon, let's keep it real with yourself right now. Okay, you're watching this to be distracted. Be fully distracted. Don't try to do work at the same time. Just chill. Just accept it. Right. Just accept it. So yeah, didn't have a point. I think.
But no, I think that's so. I think the point you're making, with maybe without knowing it.
Yes, talk to me. What point am I making?
Is that's now the choice that you. That's the choice that you are now making based off of how you recognize it made you feel. Right. So now your choice, and you've recognized that is that I do watch TV, but it is to be distracted. That's your choice. Yeah. Right. To that point, right? I am very empathetic, and I take on those emotions or whatever, and that is why I don't like watching scary movies, because all the fear that all the characters are feeling, multiply it times 10, and that's what I'm feeling. And I'm like, I don't like that feeling, so I'm not big on scary movies. I don't really be catching me watching those, but especially you're not going to catch me watching those anytime close to when I need to go to bed, right? And I recognize that, and that's really not only just scary movies. That's any type of like super like. I don't know, like drama, like the type of movies, like anything where like
there's a lot of tension, a lot of suspense.
Yeah, like we used to watch Snowfall, like even that.
Snowfall's popping.
I know, but it's just like it's heavy. I don't like watching heavy things before I go to bed because now I'm thinking about everything. Yes. Like I'm not the type of person that can just turn the TV off and now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go lay on my pillow and dream about unicorns. Like no, I'm thinking about everything that we just watched. And again, I can't help but put myself in that situation. It's like. That's a lot to do before I go to bed. So that's why I like to just watch something really lighthearted, something funny, like a little family sitcom or whatever. Because it's like, one, those are more like relatable. Two, it doesn't. It's just like, okay, that was just a little family scuffle. I can let that go, whatever. But yeah, again, that's my choice, right? Now I'm choosing to do that. So I think that it kind of relates to once you recognize how it makes you feel, you now are either choosing to continue the problem or choosing to make a change.
Love it. So physical health, right? The choices you are making, it's what you're eating, it's how you're moving, and it's what you are consuming. All right. We did a little bit of time on physical health is because I feel like that's one of our primary pillars. Yeah. The next two will go a little bit quicker. One for the sake of time, and two because we have less examples, I think. So the next one it says social health. The next one. Okay, and I don't even know if we have a graphic for this one, but we do. Look at the queen. I see you.
Let's see what. Yeah. Okay. So what we say. So when you're talking about social health, what you say is a big thing that affects how you feel social wise.
Yeah. So I got two for this one. One is what you say to yourself.
Yep.
Right, which I mean can sprinkle into spiritual, but I feel like having those daily affirmations and having that confidence to. Or just I feel like talking to yourself is healthy as long as you know you're talking to yourself, right? Yes, we've said that on multiple episodes. As long as you know you're talking to yourself, I feel like that's a healthy situation. But be, I guess, conscious of the words that you say to yourself, even in private, because they do have effect on you.
Yes.
Number two, what you're saying to others, right? Man, there's some people out there that got no filter, and I respect it, right? Yeah. They have that choice of they have no filter, but sometimes they act like they don't understand that what they say has consequences.
I mean, some people physically don't like have that the ability to recognize that.
Very true, very true.
But some people do and just choose to ignore
it. Very true indeed. Like for example, insurance bucket. I'm not gonna say any names, but dump some things in the insurance bucket. When we were at a restaurant. Right, it was a mostly white establishment, and we were a group of mostly black folks. Someone in our group was asking, who makes your key lime pie? To the waiter, and the waiter was like, "Huh? What do you mean?" He was like, "Do you have a black woman back there making your mac and cheese?" You're right, mac and cheese. He's like, I just want to know, like, do you have a black woman back there making the mac and cheese? And then immediately you see the waitress just like get red, and she's like, I don't know. He's like, oh well, never mind. Let me just get this instead.
Right.
And then I think eventually he was like, okay, never mind. Let me get the mac and cheese. She leaves, and I was like, they spitting in all your food,
all
right?
of it,
all of it, right? So it's like he had that active choice and decision to just go ahead and say what you want,
right.
live your best life. I understand it was probably funny on the inside, and it's funny now, but yeah, there was consequences to how you interact with your waiter, how you interact with your Uber driver, how you interact with your supervisor, your wife, your children. Like, there's consequences for what you choose to say or what you choose not to say in those conversations. One more, not example, but pivot, unless you have more things, is if you have a problem with somebody, right? If someone's always touching your hair, if someone's saying your name wrong and you don't say anything, that there's also consequences to that.
That's a choice.
That is a choice. And I feel like for me, like, people say my name all the time. Right then, I was like, oh my gosh. And at this point, I only correct people if I know I'm gonna talk to this person long term.
Right.
If this is just a random person, if this is the Uber driver calling me Devin, I'm not talking to you ever. I'm not saving your number. I'm not right. I'm good. But we're in a business transaction. If you're family or if you're someone else, it's like, it's Devon. Just want to put that out there.
Right. Like Juanita.
Juanita. Yeah. Oh goodness.
But yeah, I think that I feel like I usually fall on the not saying things, and
Indeed.
again, there are consequences that come with that, right? Because that is a choice. Usually, it's always up here, but what makes it to my brain, and then what makes it actually out speaking.
This is a strong filter.
Yeah, it's a very strong filter. There's it's only a few things, right? But I'm working on it.
First off, I love when you come home.
I know.
First of all, yes, I love when you come home, period.
Thank you.
But I love when you come home and you have like these stories and you're like, and then I'm like, did you say that out loud? Of course not. No, I didn't say that out loud. I'm like, oh, all right, well.
Everybody be thinking I was a different person if I said it was in my mind.
Woo!
You know the truth.
I do know the truth.
But yeah, I can't help it. I am trying to get better at that, because I do want to be like, I want to grow I'm growing into my authentic self. And to do that, I got to say what's on my mind, right? I'm never not going to have a filter. That's just not me. But I think that knowing that, and what I'm realizing now is like, okay, you could say this, you could say this. These are the consequences. And this is right. This is probably what a lot of introverts probably get what I'm saying. But even like there's anybody who deals with a level of social anxiety can also understand what I'm saying. It's like, okay, he did that thing I don't like again. You could say something. It could not go the way you want. He could react this way, or it could go the way you want. But if you choose not to say it, that's on you now, because he's going to keep doing it. And now you're taking on that stress of having to experience that moving forward now, because he can't read your mind. And so you have to say it or deal with it in the future. That's it. So I feel like once you understand that, it makes it easier to speak up in those moments, because then it's just weighing the consequences, right? It's okay, is this worth it or not? Like, is this just something small? It's like, whatever, I can still go to sleep at night and no problem. Then I might let it go, because then the stress of having to say it might outweigh the actual outcome, right? So that's kind of like the daily struggle that I deal with, versus like, okay, no, we're going to be dealing with this for a while, so you got to nip this in the butt right now, because otherwise it's just going to build up inside of you, and then you're just going to be like, one day, like, what did you do? Sinclair! Right. So, yeah, I think that's depending on the person you are, depending on how strong your filter is, depending on if you're, tend to be more outspoken or more reserved. Those are all things that you do have the choice of, right? Either way, whether you say things that you shouldn't have or you don't say things that you should have, it's still a choice. So once you realize that, again, the responsibility is yours to decide how you want to move forward with the world and with your relationships.
Well said, Queen. Indeed. And then one more for social talk. I think we talked about that a little longer than I thought. Is no, you're good. It was a good combo. Which one do you want to do? Your circle or your willingness to try new things?
I think the circle can be talked about really quickly, because I do want to talk about willingness to do new things. So the circle is really just like, think of the five people you spend the most time with. I mean, I don't have to dive very deeply into that, but generally they, the saying is, what you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So just look at your circle, and that is a choice. All the people you spend time with is a choice. So yeah, and then it's not necessarily just your immediate like family members or things like that. Just who you spend time with, whether that's coworkers, whether that's a neighbor, whether that's your spouse, whoever it is, you still choose that. And their life, how they're going, their emotions, all of that, like you said, it kind of rubs off on you. So if you are not in a place where you want to, look at your circle. That may be something that you need to address, and maybe put yourself in another circle.
Perfect. And I think that ties really well into the willingness to try new things,
Mm-hmm.
because it's also like you maybe you grew up with a certain circle, you went to high
Right.
school, you went to college, and it's like, I know these people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to leave this circle of experiences, a circle of growth people, to find new people that can help you go to the next level.
Right.
So I feel like also like leaving the country
Mm-hmm.
or just traveling period is an amazing way to just learn new things,
Yes.
because here's something interesting. And again, I'll do the disclaimer that bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
The disclaimer that the queen be doing, like, oh, I'm not professional, even though I'm a genius. I'll claim that. So it's interesting. You can't dream of images you've never seen before.
Exposure.
Right. Which means that you can't like literally dream or imagine things that you've never experienced before.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to live your best life, how do you know you're even imagining the best life you can ever live if you've never traveled?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How do you know what you want to do in life for your career, for your entrepreneurship, if you don't know other people that have businesses, that have entrepreneurship, that have various careers?
Right.
So I feel like literally being exposed to new things and being able to travel, hear different languages, see different lifestyles that people are living, see different foods that people are eating, like being able to just consume all of that gives you the most information possible to then make your dream what your dream really could be.
Right.
So I really love what you added there. The fact that, let's make sure that we are dreaming and we are experiencing new things. I think I'm good on that one.
Yeah.
You good on that
I think you covered it. I think it's just the idea to step out of your comfort zone. That is where that uncomfortability, I think, is where the growth happens. So you got to be willing to do that. We're back.
Agreed. All right. No, it's not the last one. Spiritual health should be quick. Queen, talk to me.
So I think there's really two main things that we wanted to talk about with spiritual freedom, and that's the how we feel, and what you choose to believe in.
Gotcha.
So I think one, how you feel, that is, yes, there are thoughts. You can't control your thoughts necessarily. Those thoughts are going to come. And maybe do you believe that?
I believe that you can train yourself to control your thoughts. I feel like that's what there are forms of meditation that do that. But I also feel like it's not necessarily controlling your thoughts, it's controlling your reactions and response.
That's where I was going
to your thoughts.
But I just wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, I feel like it is possible to train your body, train your mind to control the thoughts that enter and leave it. I think like master.
Oh yeah, like
master
monks. Yeah.
Oh, right, can get to that level.
Gotcha. But for the average person,
for me, no. Pickles, oranges, water,
unicorn, donut, squirrel. Yeah. But yeah, so for the average person, especially in today's society, when you got all these commercials and ads and billboards, everything popping up, like it's very hard to control your thoughts, but you absolutely control your response to them, which then controls how you feel, right? So something bad happens to you, you still choose how to react to that. Obviously, there are some situations where it's like, if it's someone close to you, something bad happens, not a lot of choice there. You're going to feel sad, right? But how you feel is generally something that you control. It is very hard to control. I think that's one of the things that meditation does help with, is honing in on okay, yes, these thoughts are coming, but what am I doing about it? Am I going to feel, yes, this happened? Am I going to feel sad for the rest of the day? Or am I going to focus on solutions? Yes.
So, I got a metaphor. I like making connections. First off, I like this setup because I just get to stare at you. It's just a nice situation to be in. Usually I'm like looking this way towards the camera or on the screen, and it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I'm looking over here, and it's like, hey, how you doing? All right, cool.
Okay, how are you?
Yeah, I'm blessed. You know what I'm talking about? What was I saying, Sinclair?
You had a metaphor.
Golly, you are something else. Metaphor. So I feel like the thoughts. It's kind of like scrolling on Instagram, right? All these images are there, and you choose, or you have the ability to choose what you stop, what you actually will consume, what you double tap, what you comment on. So you think of every post on Twitter, every post on Instagram as like thoughts that are running through your mind. And you have the ability to be like, okay, what thought am I going to double tap today?
Right.
What thought am I going to stop? What thought am I going to share? Right.
Yeah.
What am I going to repost? What am I retweeting? Like all those, like think about those as thoughts, literally intellectual media inside of your head that you can choose to consume however you want.
Right. And I think it's interesting when we talked about controlling your thoughts now with that metaphor, right? It's okay, yeah, I can't control what other people post, but I chose to follow that person. Right? So it's like, how do you train your brain to follow or unfollow the stuff that you do or do not want to see? It's like, how do you do that in your brain? I feel like it's kind of what meditation is doing.
Another riff is the one before. You said something about like your 5 people in your circle, right?
Yep.
These are almost like the people that you're following.
Yeah.
And their thoughts, their perceptions of you, themselves, the world, are probably the thoughts that are also in your head.
Right.
But you may not know whose thought they are. They're just thoughts that are coming. Someone's like, oh, you're not good enough. Whose thought was that? Was that your thought? Or was that someone else's thought?
Right.
Oh, you're brilliant. Oh, whose thought was that? Was that your thought? Probably. Or was that somebody else's thought? And I feel like it's hard to know and distinguish in our heads. Like in social media, you know who it comes from because it's a hashtag, it's a person. But in your head, it's all kind of jumbled up. We don't always know the sources of it.
Yeah. So sorry. I know we always spend more time than we want to, but this reminds me of TC when we're having a conversation on like I think it was Russ, and I was trying to say like, oh, I love Russ, and he was just like, what? Everybody on Twitter says that, and I'm just like, I don't care what they say on Twitter. Like, why are you making your opinions based off of what you see on Twitter? Do you like Russ or do you not like Russ? And sometimes it's hard to, sometimes it's hard, especially when we're so programmed into the different, social medias. It's hard to know what is my authentic thought and what am I just reflecting off of what I just saw. If I saw someone say, Russ is whack, he can't even, blah, 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 I'm going to be like, shoot, well, Russ is whack, you know what I'm saying? Right. But then it's like, now I have that preconceived notion. So now when I listen to the song, I'm already programmed to say Russ is whack. So now I don't even know if I actually like it because my brain is already programmed that he's whack. So I'm not listening with that open filter. So I feel like that's why I try to, like when somebody says like, oh, there's a new album out or whatever, or there's a new show out. I almost try like, I don't want your opinion on it. Let me go watch it. So I can get my own opinion on it. Of course, I like to ask, like, is it scary? Does anybody's limbs get chopped off? No? Okay, then I'll take a listen. But I feel like, it's especially in today's society, it's hard to know what is your authentic thought and opinion versus what you're reflecting off of the people around you.
100% agree. And Russ is fire, personally.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all be saying. Russ got bars. He's independent. He owns his masters.
Right, and he does the music. He does the producing. Like, he's fire.
Now, there was one more point in spiritual.
What you choose to believe.
Yeah. So just really quickly, like it's kind of the same on how you feel or what the thoughts you choose to double tap. But what is your paradigm? Like, what are the things that you just believe? Do you believe you can do anything you put your mind to? You believe that you're just going to work that 9 to 5 for the rest of your life? Do you believe that you are a beautiful, melanated, galactic queen with an amazing smile? Like, what do you choose to believe in? Because what your belief is, what your faith is in, also determines your outcomes in life as well.
Right. And I think it's like you have those minute beliefs that you believe in, but I think to your point on like, what is your overall paradigm? Because that usually is what's driving those little small beliefs. Right. If I believe that, I got to work a job to pay rent or to whatever, to make a living wage, where did that belief come from? Versus like, I get up and fulfill my purpose. And, that's what I do. Like, what are the differences in those paradigms? Then there's the like going back to like Demetrius is like I feel like he is more on the like I believe what I can see, what I can feel, what I can touch.
Yes.
If I can't, how do I know that it's there?
Yes.
Whereas there's a lot of other people, a lot of the religions, the faiths are all built on what you can't see. They're just built on that faith and that belief. So I think that's a very different paradigm. He's going to see the world very differently
Very.
than anybody that believes in the unseen.
Mm.
So I think that's like really think about like if you've never thought about that, like really think about like what are my underlying paradigms. Like how do you see? Like, I mean, the example again with the job. Do you see a job as a way to make a living wage? You have to get a job to make a living wage, or do you see the job as your contribution to this earth while you're here?
Mm-hmm.
That makes a very big difference on the type of job you choose.
Right.
So yeah, really think about like what is my driving force? What are my overall paradigms that I believe that drive the decisions that I make every single day?
Yeah, I like that mindset difference.
Mm-hmm.
This is my job that I'm getting to pay bills, which that's like all negative, versus I'm gonna find a job to fulfill my purpose and contribute to society.
And the interesting thing is, it could be the exact same person with the exact same job, and it's all in the mindset. Because if I believe my purpose is my family, is to make sure that my family, whatever, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's just the mindset. If I believe my purpose is my is to make sure that my family, my kids grow up with blah 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 blah, I could still go out and get the same job, but now I'm getting it because I'm like, this is my purpose. I'm here to literally whatever. I'm here to drive these buses to get these kids to where they need to go because this allows me to make sure that my kids get where they need to go. Right. So you're gonna go to that job with a little bit more like purpose, a little bit more prep in your step of like, I'm living my purpose. Right. Versus someone that's like, I drive these buses because it pays the bills and I gotta make a living. It's just a mindset shift.
Interesting.
But it could also lead to you choosing a whole nother job.
True.
So it really just depends on the person.
Yeah. We're both in that stage of employment thinking. So that's why I'm like, yeah, that's interesting. How can I apply that to the way that I perceive my 9 to 5?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Live learning. Appreciate it. Now the last section, economic health. We'll go through this quickly, but we were kind of already diving into it, and it's like what you choose to do for money, what you choose to work in your career. Anything in particular you want to sprinkle on that, or do you want me to dive into it?
You could dive in. I'll sprinkle.
All right. So how you make a living, it's very interesting because money is a necessity. I feel like it's unfortunate, but like live. I mean, is it a necessity? That's a whole other thing. But I feel like if you want to live in my lifestyle, quality of life for me, I need to work somehow. So choosing to either work a 9 to 5, choosing to maybe roll the dice literally and start our own business and do that as a job is all choice. And what am I trying to say? The consequence that could happen is stability in the 9 to 5. You go to work, you have stable, but you don't necessarily have control over your time. You don't have control over where you sit sometimes and a whole bunch of other things versus gambling a little bit, taking a little bit bigger risk, but one, higher reward, and then two, you have a little bit more control. Not 100% freedom in the sense because you still have to work.
Right.
Like our trip to Tulsa was a fun trip, but we were working. We weren't free that entire time.
Right.
I still loved it.
Right.
So yeah, how about your take on that?
Yeah, I think it really goes back to what we said, what we were talking about a second ago.
Right.
I think it's how do you view your job? Do you view it as something that you need to maintain your lifestyle, or do you view it as a vehicle to live your purpose? Some people do both, right? Some people have that 9 to 5 that does pay the bills, but then they have a side hustle, whatever, that allows them to live their purpose, which is awesome.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Exactly. But yeah, there are folks who do make that leap, who are just like, you know what, I'm going to I really do believe that this is why I'm here on this earth, and I'm going to put all my time and energy and attention to this. Um, I know I talk about the Sean Stevenson, my virtual mentor, a lot, but that's a lot of what he says. He always preaches like, I believe I was put on this earth in this moment for a reason. I believe I went through what I went through with his own personal health for a reason. I believe I lived where I lived for a reason, because I think that I am meant to do this, and I feel like you do your job differently. You see your job differently when you walk with that mindset, versus I gotta pay the bills. I had I feel like I've had someone tell me, not everybody gets to like their job, or not everybody gets to go to a job that they enjoy, or it's a job that fulfills them that much. um and that, which is true, it's 100% true. um but I always ask myself, like, I do excuse me, I have this thought sometimes.
Oh, here we go.
Imagine with me,
Uh,
like, what would the world look like if everybody got to wake up and do something that they loved, or something that really fueled, like, if they got to live their, what would it look like if everybody woke up and lived their purpose or lived their passion? Like, literally what that looked like. What do you think? How do you think the world would be different?
I don't think there would be as much order,
Mm.
right? Which, good or bad, I feel like there wouldn't be that order to society that we see today. Um, I feel like it would be a little bit more. No, I see good stuff happening for sure. Like, I see a lot more people happy, but I also see a lot more people having to do things for themselves that they didn't
Mm.
have to do for themselves before.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like, where does garbage go?
Yeah.
I don't know. But if everyone's out there living their purpose, like, I don't see a whole bunch of garbage people, which means that now I need to take care of my own garbage, which is cool. I just don't know how to do that. But yeah, I can see it being a good thing, but at the same time, I feel like, and this is why I'm in the in between. I feel like there are certain things that still need to be done in society, and I don't know if those things would be done if everyone had complete freedom and didn't have to work.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Sometimes that's just sometimes that I think about, like, would society even be able to function if tomorrow everybody was like, all right, yeah, quit your job, go find something you love to do, like what, or maybe not quit your job, but just do something you love, like, where the people be like, okay, I love this job, I drive this garbage truck, and I love the fact that I'm able to keep people's houses clean. You know what I'm saying? But how many people would actually do that?
Seven. Seven in the entire United States. They would be working 24 hours a day, driving these or flying these trash planes.
Yeah, that's funny.
Go ahead, please.
But no, I just think about, like, I ask myself that question sometimes on, like, would that even be sustainable? The same way, like, when you talk about, I've heard people ask this question and have the discussion of, like, or yeah, yes, we talk about everybody should eat healthier or whatever, but, like, the whole world can't go vegan tomorrow. Like, that's not even sustainable. So it's like there's still, it's like you put these messages out there so that more people will grasp onto this mindset, but not necessarily everybody, because we can't have everybody doing any one thing. There still needs to be a nice mixture of things for society to be able to operate as it needs to.
Agreed. Just like, because we're in economic health, so I think this metaphor makes perfect sense. But when you're investing, you want a diverse portfolio, right? You don't want all your money in real estate, because if there's a real estate crash, your money's going down. You don't want all your money in the stock market, X, Y, and Z. So you want some money in the stock, some money in some tech stock. You want some real estate. You want some health companies. You want some businesses. Diverse portfolio. I think it's the same with society. And I feel like instead of having like an extreme, like everyone can do whatever they want, or a extreme on the other side, everyone has to do what we say in the government. I think it's a nice blend, and that's kind of what America is in a sense. It's a blend, but I think taking it to the next level, it would be dope if instead of working 40 hours a week, you work maybe 30 hours a week, same paycheck, and for those other 10 hours, you're fulfilling your purpose. Whether it's a mandatory you have to fulfill your purpose, or as an internship co-op where you can work with whatever other company or organization you want to fulfill your purpose, or it's just here's 10 hours a week where you're getting paid to do literally whatever your heart desires. I feel like that would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
We'll still have the 7 garbage people, maybe on those 10-hour days that we do in the garbage, but then the other 30 hours they can do everything else. We'll still have the teachers, the surgeons, like they'll still be all the jobs, but imagine what everyone can do with 10 hours per week, every single week. I know there's some folks that would be doing some stuff, like I feel like we'll be doing some stuff, and I feel like there's other folks that may take those 10 hours to chill, which is fine.
Right.
But yeah, I think that would be an interesting experiment.
It would be an interesting experiment.
Game time. We get to this game.
Yes.
We're almost done.
Yes.
All right. So let's wrap up. Let's get to the game portion of it. Feel free if y'all want to play along. You can make these choices as well. Put it in the comments, whether you're watching on IG or on YouTube. So, question for you, Queen.
Yes.
If you could only, so this is the freedom game. Okay, so you're making a choice to give up possible freedoms, and you can just kind of talk through your choices here. But you can only drink your food, so you can literally eat anything you want, but you have to drink it in a smoothie form or in some type of liquid form. But you're guaranteed to live healthily until 120 years old. Guaranteed. Like, you can get hit by a bus. What's that? I'm healthy. I drink my food. All right. So, would you do it? You can only drink your food, but you're guaranteed life to 120 years old. And whoever else makes this decision with you, in case you're wondering, like, oh, I don't want to live to 120, but then you die at 97. Whoever else makes this decision with you will also live to 120.
Can that be you?
Yeah.
You saying like that, like I get to choose what other person I would want to live to 120 with? Be you, man.
That's good.
Next question.
But so yes,
no,
you would do it.
Yes, I would do it.
Why?
Because I think the amount of life and the quality of life that you can live would still be higher. The fact that you're living healthily for 120 years, to me, that quality of life, I see that being higher than the alternative, which is, I mean, it's a gamble. You don't really know how you're going to live. But I feel like, yeah, you would be able to do a lot more things with the guarantee that you live till 120. That's what? I could go live a lot of life with that guarantee. But yeah, I think it just gets rid of the gamble. Like, all right, yes, the consequences, you give up solid foods. But if we're talking about up until now, I at least have the memory of the solid foods that I have been able to eat up until this point. Yeah. And it's not like I can't try things. They just have to be in some type of liquid form. That sounds so gross, but I'm sure I'd get used to it.
Yeah, you get used to it. All right, next question. If you didn't have to work a day in your life, but you could never leave the country. This is America. Right? Yeah. So you never have to work. You're fine. But you can't go to Thailand, can't go to Costa Rica, can't go to Africa.
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it. You rather work your job. All right, go ahead, talk to us. Why?
Because I can do what we're doing right now, which is I can build a travel company to be able to go and travel around the world. Yeah, I can build a job. I can build my life so that money is not necessarily an issue. Whereas, yeah, if I can't leave the country, then I can't leave the country. Yeah.
Cool. All right. If you couldn't watch anything on TV or any movies, but you can make literally any film or TV show you could imagine, and you can watch that show. So you can't consume regular TV, but you can make any film, any TV series that you can put into your head, and you can watch those shows.
I mean, me personally, I'd probably just go with watching what's out there, because I personally, like, making films and TV is not something that I have a strong desire for. So I'm just like, I'll let people who are good at it, who have that desire and that purpose, do that, and I like enjoying that. Yeah, I don't see myself. I feel like you would definitely answer this question differently.
Yeah, no question.
Yes, because I love consuming the things that you create, right? But again, I don't want to write my own script. I don't. That's not something that I.
Right. It didn't say you have to make it. It's you can make any movie you can imagine. So every dance movie that's in your head, you can have made.
Oh, so I'm not making it.
Yeah, you don't have to be the one filmer or the writer per se, but like even if I have a film made, like I'm not doing every single thing in the thing. Yeah. Well, you know my choice. Yes. I'm for sure making all types of movies, all types of films, and I can just watch those. I'm fine.
And I can watch them with you?
Of course, Queen. Okay. Let me stay focused. Okay, last question for you. You're guaranteed $1 million a year, but you can't sleep more than 5 hours a day.
Oh, what's that? Come on. I'm sleeping.
You're sleeping.
I'm sleeping.
Talk to me.
That face.
Talk to me. Guaranteed $1 million a year, every single year, but you can't sleep more than 5 hours a day. Talk to me.
If you, depending on the person, but the average person would become sleep deprived, not being able to sleep more than 5 hours a day. If you do that for your entire life, you're going to end up in a mental state that that can't enjoy $1 million or is doing really stupid things with $1 million. Interesting. Your body literally starts to break down when it's sleep deprived for a long period of time, like chronic sleep deprivation. Thank you.
AKA the little bit of sleep deprivation that we have right now. Off of one day, y'all see how we
exactly. I'm just like, what, every day like this?
What are words?
I can't do it. No. So yeah, that I'm the health nerd. Yes, I'm just like thinking great. About how your body would break down and how your brain would break down and how you just would slowly start to lose your sanity with only 5 hours of sleep every single day. So yeah, I know I take my sanity over $1 million. Again, I believe in my ability to make money. So the money is like, that's cool, but I could use my knowledge and my brain that I do have, the sanity that I do have because I sleep, to generate $1 million a year.
Gotcha. Appreciate you. Thanks for playing. Well done.
We need like a little applause thing.
Yeah, one day where our podcast isn't there yet. Hold up now. All right. Yeah, we're going to get there. We'll have sound effects eventually. Yeah. Listen, that soundboard is like $800. So when we have the sounds,
our Cash App is
listen, talk to me. But I like playing that game because I feel like it actively puts into perspective the choices that we're making every single day, and also our own values. Right? You value sleep, and you're like, you know what? I can make money. I want my rest, and I value my sanity. You also value quality of life, and you were willing to give up food, which I know you love food.
Anybody who knows me knows
I was low-key surprised at that one. The fact that you're willing to give up the amazing food. I mean, you can blend it up, but the experience of food to guarantee a healthy lifestyle means that health, that quality of life, that longevity of life is more important than you've been almost anything else. So yeah, it was a cool little game. Appreciate you. Okay, let's wrap it up a little bit. Queen, if you have any announcements or highlights from the week that you would like to.
Can we rewind? What would you choose? I feel like you answered maybe one or two of them. Yeah. But real quick, what would you choose on the food one?
The food one is close. Guaranteed 120. I would probably choose, especially if you already chose it. Then I was like, all right, well, I ain't gonna die.
I'm gonna be in here drinking my smoothie. You over there eating a Big Mac.
Basically, you remember that Secret Success podcast episode? They're talking about the life insurance.
Yes.
Yeah, you ain't gonna have Tyrone moving to my house.
Right. My new husband. We gonna live to 120.
So yeah, I would choose that. The $1 million a day. I might choose the $1 million.
I thought it was a year.
$1 million a year.
I was like, wait a minute,
that changed.
I don't know my ability to make $365 million a year. That's
man, but yeah, $1 million a year guaranteed, 5 hours a day. I think I might rock with that, especially if I know I already made the first choice I'm gonna live to 120 regardless.
Oh, very okay. Yeah, if we're talking about compound decisions, now that
Our,
makes
our every decision is a
you're
compound
right. I
decision.
didn't think that was
Game
a
theory.
game
Come on
rule that
now,
was
game
not.
theory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I might choose that, and I feel like there's also an interesting way to tweak that. If you can only sleep 5 hours a day, and you start in New York on a plane, and you fly to California, you just lost 3 hours.
So
So
you
does
gonna do
those
that every
do
day?
those hours count? I mean, you certain days on the days where you're like, dang, I really need to recharge right now. Cool, hop on a plane and go back in time.
Interesting.
You're making $1 million a year. I think you can
Right.
afford to do that
Right.
once a month to just get sleep. See, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Think different. Think
Yes, you do.
different. What was the other one? You can work. Let's see. Didn't have to work a day in your life, but you could never leave the country. I feel like it would depend on when. I feel like right now I wouldn't do that because there's still places I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there is a point in my life, maybe when I'm 50, when I'm 60, to where it's like, all right, I would do that decision. But right now, today, Devon, no, I still want to go to Africa. Still
Mm-hmm.
want to go to probably Thailand again. Still want to go back to Jamaica. Still want to go to Cuba. Still want to go to South America. So this is a lot of life that I want to live, and
Yeah.
I equate traveling to really life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's tons of stuff you can see in America, but I'll see that later. We got time for that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's it. Oh, and then the TV question.
Yeah.
Clear choice. You
Yeah.
already know what it is.
Yeah.
You already know. You good?
Yes.
Cool. So a quick weekly wrap up because we're already over an hour. Somehow, I don't know. We do this every time, Sinclair. I don't know what it is. But your week and any announcements you have for the folks, my beautiful queen.
My week was decent. Um, I'm not specifically thinking of any ups or downs, so I think it was kind of a
Mm-hmm.
steady week. Um, yeah. Announcements still have the 4 week intermittent fasting plan
Talk to him.
available. After you indulge in all this barbecued goodness this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
you might need a little reset. So go ahead and check on that intermittent fasting plan. It's got 4 weeks of exercises to do at home or in the gym. So definitely check that out. And then we also have the smoothie recipe ebook.
Yes.
Again, we just talked about if you had to only drink your food. These are things that would have you be feeling pretty good if you had to drink your food. So definitely go check those out as well.
Listen, we might need to do a smoothie fast before we go to.
Yeah, I've already been thinking about like doing a type of juice fast or smoothie fast. Yeah,
I'm down for it.
We do a reset after, but it might be cool to do a reset.
Yeah,
beforehand.
strictly so I can make sure that I'm just out there. Yeah, I've been working out. She's been working out. We trying to get to it, y'all. But anyway, let me get focused. For me, week was a cool week. I feel like it could have been a little bit more powerful, but I think overall it was good. I feel like my thing is I'm realizing that I know a people person, but I feel like I equate action and progress to how many people I'm interacting with and impacting. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, there's going to be some weeks where it's like you're not engaging with people. You're maybe doing social media posts, you're planning, you're looking to hire new staff, like you're doing stuff that is taking a step forward, but because it's all strategy and I'm not talking to anybody, it feels like, I didn't do anything this week. I'm trying to get out of that as I'm realizing that, but I feel like that's also just ingrained in my personality.
Yeah.
So yeah, long story short, didn't do too much like people interaction other than the Thursday boys course. And today or tomorrow is one of our scholars' birthdays. Shout out to Aaliyah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hey. Birthday. We sang on the chorus. Oh, I was like, oh, Aaliyah, come over to the hot seat so we can talk about it. And I was like, happy. Right off to the bat. So that's a cool course that's going well. The students are enjoying it. Carmelita is enjoying and giving me good vibes in there as well. So that's been solid. Masterpiece editions of the board game are in the final leg of production. That's been stressing me out. But they're in the final leg of production. So if you've already pre-ordered, you should be getting your game in late July, early August. And then if you haven't pre-ordered yet, go ahead and order your game ASAP. That way you can secure it. Only 1,000 board games available for this first run. I'm assuming they're going to fly a little bit, especially once they get in stock and people start seeing that, oh, wait, they're out now? They're going to get going. So go ahead and pre-order yours today. And we also have several courses available on the website. A course about Mansa Musa, right, about building wealth, the legend of Mansa Musa, and how you can create generational legacies through your actions today. We have a course on Du Bois versus Booker T. Washington, their philosophy on economics and education. So if you got some scholars, if you got some folks and you want to teach them some education, playblackwallstreet.com. We got your health resources there. We got your educational resources there. And of course, we got the board game.
I just feel like
which we're going to play today, right? Yes. Don't forget to remind me not to forget to bring the good.
I got you, man. I feel like for those who do, our ride or dies, who do follow us for our life updates too, I just feel like we owe them an update that our condo was not flooded.
Oh, did we talk about that on the podcast?
Yeah, because we did the podcast. Remember, we were all stressed the last episode? Yes. So we're
not swimming.
Right, we're not swimming. We're good. We ended up not having too much damage or anything that happened. So it was very stressful not to know. I think it's just a very helpless situation. But yeah, everything worked out. We were good to go, but that was a stressful Sunday to Monday experience.
Twas. First off, choices, right? So we had something wrong with our toilet, the little refill valve or whatever. That was a quick little fix. And then the sink, there was a leak in our sink as well. And the plumber dude was like, all right, it's going to be, $400. And I was like, oh, goodness, $400. He's like, well, you could fix it yourself. All you got to do is, get this type of pipe from Home Depot, cut it, do this, do that. And I was like, okay. He was like, the pipe's like $20 at Home Depot. I was like, dang, $20? $400. And, old Devon would have definitely been like, you know what, forget this. I'm going to Home Depot. I'm going to get these pipes. I'm going to fix it. The pipes would have went in, and then we would have turned on the water. There would have been water everywhere. Right?
And now we're hundreds of dollars in repairs and big damage.
Big facts. So, as you can tell, I chose to go the $400 route this time, get it done, especially because as I was in the middle of making said decision, like an angel from heaven, I got a text from my wife saying, thanks, dear, for handling this. So as soon as I was like, oh, goodness, all right, well, I can't not get it handled now. Right. Because she already said thank you. She's already so appreciative. If I then reply, I'm going to Home Depot, I'm getting the pipes tonight, and she comes home and it's a travesty, that's not going to go well.
That would have
but
added stress onto the situation.
Right, that would have been terrible. But luckily, the $400 wasn't $400 because he didn't have to rebuild anything. He was just like, oh, there's just something out of place. I just put this back in place. Boom, the leak stopped, and it was only $200.
Nice.
So still, more than 20, but he still got a little extra change from it. Long story short, if you can't fix stuff, don't fix it. All right. I feel like sometimes as men of the house, we think, oh, I'm gonna get my tools, and yeah, this is my job because in home improvement they did this and did it. I'm just like, nah. I'm going to play my role. I'm going to make these board games, and I'm going to hire a plumber.
Your job is just to make sure it gets fixed.
Boom.
Very different than fixing it.
Yes, ma'am.
Agreed. Really, at some point in our relationship, he asked, I'm not, how much of a handyman do you need? And I was just like...
I asked early, y'all.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, I just need you to be able to pick up the phone to call. I'm not that person that's like, I need you up in my car or I need you up on the in the bathroom. I don't need that. Just pick up the phone. That's all I need.
I got you, Queen.
Thank you.
I got you, Queen. Oh, all right, y'all. We appreciate you for tuning in to another amazing and impactful episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we share our live best life. Come on, 1, 2, 3, through the lens of holistic health. I got to counter out these days, y'all. All right. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
We hope y'all stay healthy. We hope y'all stay mentally wealthy. And of course, we hope y'all stay true. Come on.